The time has come.
Now, we are going to be heading to where Dungeon 7 is, which luckily is not very far from here. Dungeon 7 is pretty dang close by. It's, as the old man in the last dungeon hinted, we need to find a secret where fairies don't live. Now, of course, we've been going to this fairy location here where there's a fairy in the pond, but for whatever reason, and I might have touched on this earlier in the Let's Play, I can't remember, but there's this area up here where there's another pond, except instead there's just an enemy, and there's no fairy anywhere in sight. And here, actually, if we play the recorder, then the pond will drain, and we get access to Dungeon 7. We're getting close to the end. There's 9 dungeons, and we're on 7. And this dungeon is pretty dang easy. I mean, the only real issue here is the fact of the meat, that you need to have that, as well as one kind of silly design area later on. But, yeah, this dungeon has a lot of easy enemies, and it's just another repeated boss fight. There's no original boss for this dungeon, which I think there were original bosses up to this point, right? Because level 1 was the dragon thing that I don't know the name of. I just played the recorder. Anyway, level 2 was the Dodongo, level 3 was Manhandler, level 4 is Gleeok, 5 was Digdogger, and 6, which we just did, was Goma. This dungeon, I'm pretty sure, is just a repeat of the first dungeon boss. If not the first dungeon, it's one of the dungeons. These guys take a surprising amount of hits for us having the best sword in the game and for how early these guys appeared. I don't remember where the map is. I actually don't remember a lot about this dungeon, but we'll figure it out. Hey, it's Digdogger. Remember when he was a threat? Now he's just a common enemy. He's actually a bit tougher than he was before because when we play the song, he splits up. Never mind, I was thinking of another encounter with him, because yes, there is another encounter with him later on. Hey, it's Stalfos! Remember these guys? They were in like Dungeon 2 or something. Why are we fighting these guys now when we were fighting Wizrobes in the last dungeon? I don't know. I suppose in that sense you can say that dungeon progression, like in the 1 through 7 kind of path, isn't entirely necessary, and it's not. But we needed the recorder to get to this dungeon in the first place, and we don't get that till Dungeon 5. And Dungeon 5 meant you had been dealing with blue dark nuts, you had been dealing, you know, with all the bosses before, like Gleeok. So if you can deal with them, surely you've proved yourself beyond Stalfos. Maybe they designed the dungeons, and then where they're located separately, I'm not sure. What was that we even picked up over there? Was it just a key? I don't remember, I was just ranting about how easy this dungeon is. It was a key, it was in one of the Stalfos. There's one annoying room in this dungeon with the wall masters, which I'll get to. And it's annoying because you need to push a block, which when there's wall masters who can take you back to the beginning of the dungeon, that's an issue. At least I'm pretty certain it's this dungeon. I might be thinking of a different one. But I know there's a case, or there's a dungeon where that is the case. And I went in a circle. Alright, time to get bombing. Get that, well, actually, there might be some dark rooms, so I'll keep the candle out. The candle really throughout the entire game is just an obligation, like, oh, it's a dark room, use a candle. Oh, there's a heart piece in the overworld, use a candle. I kind of like how you get the wand with the fire ability, because that means you can then use it infinitely instead of only being able to use it one time per room. And you could argue you could use the candle as a weapon, but, I mean, you can only use it once per room, and it's not necessarily the best weapon overall. Like, you could easily hit yourself with it, or it can miss or something and just stay there, and again, you can only use it once per room, so once you miss it stays missed, unless they walk into it. What I could use right now is the map. Oh hey, a fairy. And a heart. They're being generous on the health now that I don't need it. Like earlier I was, you know, I was up against a room of blue Wizrobes and I was heading in with nothing but 2 hearts or so. Hey, it's Dodongos. Let's get the bombs out. This is another reason you really need to buy the bomb expansions, is because if you didn't buy the bomb expansion, it takes 6 hearts, or 6 bombs to kill these guys, assuming you don't use the stun, smoke, whatever strategy. I don't use that much because it's not very reliable. But unless you're using that, it takes 2 bombs per Dodongo, and there's 3 Dodongos, so that's 6 bombs you need to use. And the default at the start is 8, or the default maximum at the start is 8, so having to use 6 at one point is very challenging, to say the least. Man, just 4 keys. Oh, nice bombs. We need those. I should try bombing some more walls. I don't know why I'm not. Hey, ropes. Remember these from Dungeon 2? I think Stalfos were from Dungeon 1. These ones from 2. But, we got a key from there. That's nice. Although we won't be needing keys much longer, as the dungeon after this features the skeleton key, or lion key, or whatever it is. We'll get to that. Oh, yes, I would like to carry more bombs. Wow, did we really buy the food? Because we paid like 60 rupees for the food, and it seemed like I already got back to 180 so quickly. But yeah, now we can carry 16 bombs, and that's awesome. Oh, we haven't gone north? Okay. You know, I said these guys take a lot of damage for the magical sword, but it's only 2. I must have been hitting a lot of separate enemies at the time. What do we have here? Another Digdogger in the same dungeon! And is this the one that splits up into 3? Yes, it is. There we are. And they still all have the same amount of health. It's just to throw you off more. I mean, the orbs already are kind of doing that from the statues, but... He wasn't even necessary to kill. I just realized the door was open. We could have just left. We didn't get an item from her or anything. Huh. I wonder if that's one of the only instances in which killing a boss is completely and utterly useless in this game. There might be some other instance. Oh yes, here is Grumble Grumble, which translates to give me the food. People have joked about this for a while. It's the only instance in the game which we actually need to use the meat, but it's just used to get that guy out of the way, and you have to go through him to complete this dungeon. Otherwise, you'll end up just stuck back there, and you'll never get to the map here, so you'll be lost. And wow, this dungeon is weird. The shape of it is just so, like, stuck together. Like the last dungeon, there was the tail that was all clinged off from the rest of the body. This is just one big mass. Just more of the same enemies, no problem. Hey, we use the candle as a weapon. How about that? I have a feeling we can go into the eyeball thing there, but I don't know from what angle, or if it's really necessary at all. Because we got all the bomb upgrades, we got the food guy out of the way. I don't think there's much else to this dungeon other than the item. Which I'd be surprised if the item is in an unseen location. Or an invisible location. I don't know why I said invisible almost. Oh wow, that lag. Oof. Can we bomb this wall here? Because otherwise this is a dead end. This is a dead end. Well, actually, can we go down to the eye? I might have missed with bombs, so I'm going to do it again. I have plenty of bombs to spare. That's what's nice about buying the bomb upgrades. I was surprised when I just ran into that guy. I didn't remember where he was at all. That guy that sold us the bomb upgrade. Can we use a bomb here? Yes. Okay. Oh, this is the item. Interesting, and also there are enemies in there, but in order to get in there we have to push the block, which requires killing all of the enemies. So, that's an area where, like a bomb or the wand, which I suppose we haven't used that yet, that could be useful. Also, since we hear the boss and that's where the Triforce room is, and we clearly realize that he's just south 1 brick of here. But I don't remember... you know, this is the one with the Wallmaster part. Oh, and hey, it's the most useless item ever. It's the candle which gives us... or the red candle, which now allows us to use the candles as many times as we like, which is useful if you're, you know, in the overworld collecting hearts. But if you're in the overworld collecting hearts, how did you get to Dungeon 7 already? You know, because you gotta go through so much just to be able to get here. You gotta go through Dungeon 5, which... in so many of these instances, you would much rather use a... you'd much rather collect the heart pieces in the overworld before heading here. Aha. But yeah, that allows us to use it infinitely, but again, once the wand is able to shoot as many times as we like, then that'll essentially just replace the candle, even the red candle, entirely. I think the red candle would have been a great item if it was introduced just like a couple of dungeons earlier. Like if it was Dungeon 4's item or something. Because you can consider doing the previous dungeons before you get all the heart pieces. Oh hey, and it's more fire snakes. I don't know if I explained what these guys are earlier, or if they appeared earlier. They're just a mini-boss. They're one of the few instances of a mini-boss. There's 2 in this game total, and the other one doesn't appear until the final dungeon. But I believe we have to go to the tip of the nose there, which is where there's this room full of bubbles and wall masters, and we need to push a block. Hey, it's Dig Dogger again. This guy really likes appearing in this dungeon, but not as the final boss. And in this part, killing those guys, I'm pretty certain just gets you more bombs. Because I know we have to just bomb that wall and go that way. And this is the room where there's a bunch of wall masters. Oh, I just went back. Alright, let's try that again. This is the room where there's a bunch of wall masters, and we just need to make it... We need to push that block way over there, but the bubbles can get in the way, and the wall masters, if they grab you, take you all the way back. So, you gotta be careful. Also, I seem unable to push it. Hold on. I just hit select. Select pauses the game. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'd like that, please. I'd very much like that. I can't push it. There we go. Okay, I don't know what was up with that. I don't know if I had to kill a certain amount of wall masters. But normally what I do for there is I just grab the clock once it shows up, and it seems to show up there very commonly. I don't know if it's predetermined or something. This room looks very similar to the one in which we got the item, but it's different. We just need a bomb here, I presume. Yep. And this should be the boss. Yeah, and it's this guy. Remember him? Anyway, that's the last we see of him in the game. At least I'm pretty certain he's not in anymore. But that is the end of Dungeon 7. We grab another piece of the Triforce, and we move on.